Man, boys, I'm still coming down from that Nintendo Direct. Now, E3 2019, I felt overall was pretty weak, whether it be just awful presentations like Ubisoft's and Bethesda's.
That's right. Human NPCs are coming to Fallout 76.
Or ones that were better, but still had some disappointments like Xbox with Halo Infinite. I was expecting to see gameplay for Halo Infinite because it was teased last year, and this year we basically got just another tease. Square Enix had an amazing gameplay blowout for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I think could be argued was the game of the show, not to mention a new remaster for 8. But the big game they were hyping up leading up to E3 was this Avengers project that I feel totally flopped. Just did not look very impressive at all. Honestly, I'll take Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch over that game, no problem. Nintendo, I feel, just outshined everyone in every way, and I think saved us from having a fairly lackluster E3 overall. So let's talk about some of the highlights from this Direct. It opened up with a new Smash Bros. Character reveal. The hero is coming to Smash, which I think having Dragon Quest represented is nice for the anime crowd, even though it is yet another anime-looking sword-wielding character. I know a lot of people between, the Fire Emblem characters, even Link, they feel like we have enough of these type of characters. But like I said, yeah, I do think it's good, especially for the Japanese, the RPG crowd, to have a Dragon Quest representative. Then there was a pretty in-depth look at Luigi's Mansion. The game looks awesome in my opinion. That King Boo looked so sick. And we learned about Gooigi, a doppelganger of sorts that has the unique ability to walk through many of the hazards and obstacles completely unharmed, and can be controlled by a second player for co-op. Kind of feels like this may be the go-to for someone looking to play this game with their kid or, someone who isn't very good at games. You give them Gooigi and you don't have to worry about them running into stuff and dying. Just watch out for any water hazards though. They also showed multiplayer gameplay for this title, with several Luigi and Gooigis teaming up to bust some ghosts. Unfortunately, we still don't have a firm release date though. They gave us once again just the broad 2019. I'm really pulling for it to get an October release. Obviously this game would be very well suited in October, but we'll see. Nevertheless, what we saw I think looked great. Next we got new gameplay for Link's Awakening. I know many still aren't really sold on the art style. More so I think it's the character design, the faces, the eyes, but I like them. The overall design, the world, the enemies, I think is really solid. I think it's tough to argue that the game overall doesn't look good. But we also got a new revelation for this title. The game will have a dungeon builder mechanic. It looks like as you progress through the game, you'll unlock various tiles that act as rooms in the dungeon, and you can mix and match them to create something unique and go in and explore them for treasure. I'm hoping we see more about how that all works during the Treehouse Live presentations, and Link's Awakening is coming out September 20th. Daemon X Machina, by the way, is also coming out in September. Things are going to be releasing really fast and furiously in the later half of 2019, let me tell you. And don't forget, if you can't wait till September for some Zelda action, we also got a new trailer for Cadence of Hyrule, which is releasing on June 13th. So not exactly a stealth drop, but pretty close to it. Then there was this announcement of a Trials of Mana remake, which, I gotta be honest, after the Secret of Mana remake, I'm not very excited for it. But it's okay, because that wasn't all the Mana we got. They also announced a localization of the Mana Collection, which has both of the original games, the better versions of these games in it. Not only that, but that was a stealth drop. Definitely be checking that out later for sure. Despite how unlikely it seemed, the rumors were true, and The Witcher 3 is coming to Nintendo Switch. And no, not via some BS streaming app or anything like that. The actual game is running on the Switch hardware. Yes, it certainly looked downgraded, but if they can maintain a stable frame rate with the visual quality that they showed here, I think this will be another amazing feat for the Switch. I still find it very hard to believe it's running on the system at all, let alone this good. And I'd certainly say if Nintendo does have a Switch hardware revision, a Switch Pro of sorts in the works. This game would definitely be a fine candidate for that. Also, Witcher 3 is coming out in 2019. No More Heroes made an appearance. By the end, I'd almost forgotten. And this isn't another spin-off title like Travis Strikes Again, or even DLC for that game. This is No More Heroes 3, and it's coming in 2020. I hope that means we'll be in store for HD versions of 1 and 2 on the Switch. I was asking for those even just as primers for Travis Strikes Again, but now with a fully fledged third installment to the main series on the way, I think those are absolutely necessary. If you're not familiar with this series, it's just over-the-top action fun with tons of pop culture references strewn throughout. You're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for this. Now I want to talk about the one thing that was a bit of a disappointment. After patiently, respectfully, waiting all this time for info on a new Animal Crossing game, fans of the series were finally introduced to Animal Crossing New Horizons, along with the fact that the game has been delayed into 2020, March 20th, 2020 to be exact. Not only that, but I've seen some people concerned about what seems to be a bit of a new direction for the series, starting you out on like a deserted island, and with a seemingly deeper focus on crafting. I do think we need to see more before passing judgment on it or anything like that, but I'm definitely curious to see what fans of the series think about this showing and the delay. But myself, I don't think the delay is too bad, only a few months, and it's better than just pushing out a bad game and, quote, fixing it later, which seems to be ever increasingly the norm these days. And then there was the huge, massive 1-2 punch Nintendo hit us with at the end of this thing. Yes, we got a Smash character reveal at the beginning, but there was another. The gods have blessed us. Banjo and Kazooie are coming to Smash Bros. I can't believe it's real. I still can't. The iconic duo that helped define the N64 era are coming home and taking their rightful place among countless other classic Nintendo characters. For me, there definitely won't be a bigger addition to Smash Ultimate, maybe even to the Smash series ever. With the Rare IP being owned by Microsoft, love the raring to go tagline by the way, we weren't sure if they'd ever make it in. All I can say is, don't let this be the end of Banjo-Kazooie on Switch. You got the characters, but now you gotta give the young kids of today the ability to understand why these characters are so beloved. Let's get those 2 original games on the system, guys. Let's do it ASAP. Maybe via the Rare Replay collection. That, I think, would be the best way to do it. But Nintendo wasn't done there. I was still reeling, but of course they had just one more thing. A direct sequel to Zelda Breath of the Wild is in development. Well deserved for sure. I've stated numerous times that Breath of the Wild is going to go down as not only one of my favorite Zelda games, but one of my favorite games, period, of all time. And it did such a fantastic job of shaking up the Zelda formula that I think it's great that they're not just, making it a one and done deal, moving on to the fully fledged next Zelda. Just like with Majora's Mask, this teaser makes it seem like they're going for a much darker tone with this title, and I am all for it. And this will also mean, since we're not waiting for, the next new fully fledged Zelda game, that we're probably going to see this game sooner rather than later. I would say within the next 2 years, this game will probably release, which is also awesome. Can't go wrong with more Zelda. And that's pretty much it. At least for me, those were the highlights. Like I said, I think Nintendo totally killed it at E3 this year, and it was only amplified by other presentations being pretty weak. I was actually about to say this year's E3 was one of the worst I'd ever seen, but Nintendo, they totally came in at the final hour and saved it. And with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts about Nintendo's E3 Nintendo Direct in the comments. What were the highlights for you, and what games are you most excited to play? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of Nintendo's E3 2019 Direct. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you want to keep the conversation going, hit me up on Twitter @JohnnyZakari and join my Discord, Shy Guy and Friends. Link to both in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.